Rick Horrow keeping score, our special Muhammad Ali edition that is really important for all of us to provide some perspective, unique perspective, and we've talked about how Ali and his iconic image revolutionizes the MMA, WWE business, television, sports promotion, different perspectives. Obviously, with the Ali Center, we've talked a bit about charity. We now need to have a perspective about Ali's iconic brand and the memorabilia that's created by it. There's nobody better than Brandon Steiner for 25 years, maybe even longer, one of the icons in the memorabilia game. Full disclosure, he's been a partner through a company called Omnicom where we were both participating in it and bought by them. But it doesn't detract from the fact that Brandon Steiner is, if you want something sold and you want something credibly advised on how to deal with the memorabilia world, autograph world, and all that, there's nobody better and there's no one else you go to. How's that for an intro?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and it's a little bit of a gloomy day when you think about one of the greats. And for me, as a kid growing up, I mean, when you think about Muhammad Ali, man, I mean, that was like my idol. That was a guy you looked up to, and then to have the opportunity to work with him for about 4 or 5 years. We had him exclusively under contract, and had a great relationship with him. And he was special, man. He was bigger than life. Probably the biggest player we had ever dealt with, and there's not many players Steiner Sports hasn't dealt with in the last 30 years, and certainly one of the biggest in many, many ways. So his legacy, what's amazing is his legacy will live on, and there's a lot of things in place to make sure that happens.
Well, let's talk about that too. But you talk about more than 2,000 athletes and other major figures. I'm sure it's more. How did Ali's image set him apart in the context of the day-to-day business of selling stuff?
I think it's very similar to him, and there's always a controversy whether you can compare sports to business. But I think when you differentiate yourself and you do things that are meaningful to people, that you create an emotional connection with people, those things are a big part of what really changes your mind about whether to buy one product over another. An emotional connection. The product has a difference, and you got to have some balls. I mean, Muhammad Ali, in the peak of his career, did something that stood up for something, got behind a cause, and continued to go and fight that cause. But he was a showman. He was an entertainer. We've seen a lot of those come and go, but he really captured a whole lot of different things in one career, and meant a lot to a lot of people. So for me, he was different from that fact that besides the popularity, was international. I mean, there was nobody on the planet that didn't want some connection to him. And at the same time, licensing was really strong for him, which is not always true with a lot of athletes. Some athletes have some marketability, but they don't have licensing ability. He was likability, credibility, licensing ability, marketing ability. He was the whole thing. There's not going to be many Muhammad Alis in our time. But he was a guy also that was serving. He served every day. Whenever I'd run into him, he would have a stack of a couple hundred autographs on him, on different prayer pamphlets and different things he was handing out. He was perpetually on the road. I remember his schedule was incredibly hectic, going to different parts of the world, not always for money and not always from a financial capital gain. He's a special guy.
Let's talk about the prayer pamphlets piece of this. That is interesting because we've had the guys from the Muhammad Ali Center on and the life after Ali and what the legacy is and the thought leadership conferences and the tie into UNESCO, United Nations, and things that will be obvious 5, 10, 15 years from now, not just today. What's your favorite Muhammad Ali moment relative to him as a worldwide ambassador?
Oh, well, there's so many, but, I'm a little crazy this way, but I love this time with Malcolm X. He spent time with a lot of radical people that there wasn't always, in the pretty, and certainly, all the trash talking with Frazier. Although, getting to know Frazier, I kind of got a little sour on that because as much as I enjoyed Ali trash talking and beating down Frazier was comical, but I think it took its toll on Frazier. So it became less of my favorite moment. My favorite moment, I think for him, for me watching him was really just, deciding that he was going to go stand up and go to jail as opposed to fight. I mean, it's a big give, for something that he didn't want to do. I mean, that's, to go to jail, I'm sure he could have finagled his way out of not having to go fight in harm's way. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And, he could have avoided jail time and kept his career going and everything else. And so you got to understand the magnitude. So a lot of people kind of take a sideways approach to that, but I think that was a big deal for him to, basically give up 2-3 years of his career and at the same time go to prison and go fight the fight.
Of course it is, and people will realize that transcends, and that may be one of his long-term abilities to stop wars. Michael Jordan and Babe Ruth would stop traffic, but Ali might have been able to stop wars. So it's kind of an interesting perspective. Give me your business hat for just a couple of minutes on this one. He and his wife eventually sold an 80% stake in creative control to CKX of Greatest of All Time. They were talking about, again, newspaper reports, you would know better, $4 to $7 million in annual revenue, endorsements, and Adidas, Electronic Arts, all of that. The memorabilia business, he's on the top 100 celebrities list. He's the best ever at celebrity as well. Is he now well positioned to take advantage of the legacy that's been created from now your perspective, the memorabilia perspective, the estate perspective?
I think so. I think when first of all, it's Under Armour now. It was Adidas. Under Armour has done a nice job. They've been putting out some of his products all along, and I see Muhammad Ali jewelry, and there's a bunch of things that they'll still be done. He'll be used in commercials and advertisements. His legacy. So I think he's in good position. I mean, listen, a lot's been done. I mean, the guy definitely nothing but the best for him, but he lived a lot longer than anyone thought he was going to live when they did that deal as many as 15 years ago. So I'm not saying they did that deal thinking he was or wasn't going to live, but there was a lot that's transpired that's already happened. So for a lot more to happen post him passing, I don't know. But there's talk about 30 or 40,000 autographs in the till that they've collected and put away over time. I know that he can only sign up to a certain point. He really stopped signing, I think 3 or 4 years ago. So there's a lot of good collectibles that have been put together. But Muhammad Ali signed a lot of autographs. I mean, he was a very active signer, from the memorabilia business. A lot of his stuff from his game used, things from his fights got either stolen or sold, and is out there in the marketplace. But there are some things that that company still has from proprietary rights that's still yet to be done. But a lot of books and photo books and a lot of things have been done. A lot of great collectibles have been done. I mean, Muhammad, again, was a very active autograph signer, so a lot of his autograph stuff is out there. As you can see right now, I've been searching around looking, and you see thousands and thousands of items out there. So you need to go and buy something and be really careful. And also there's some bad fraudulent stuff out there. So this is a time when you actually want to wait and let the market kind of shake out and see who's got the real autographs if you want to get something real, or particularly if you want to get something like his contract or game-used stuff from his fights. This is probably not the time when you want to buy something.
But as the world's great authenticator on all of this stuff, do you see, and I guess there are some estate issues too here relative to almost to kind of like Prince and his thousands of undistributed audio in his basement somewhere. Is this the same kind of thing? Are we going to see some really good stuff trickling out over time?
No, I don't think so. I think a lot of it's already trickled out, although they are sitting with a bunch of game-used, when I say game-used, artifacts that he used from his old house, rings that he has fought in. There's some things to trickle out, but not, a lot of his fights and all the videos and all that stuff is out there already. Again, a lot of the licensed stuff has been done. If it's out there now, it's not. I don't expect to see anything riveting to come out. I don't. Again, there's definitely a warehouse full of autographed stuff and licensed stuff that is yet to be distributed. I think the name and legacy goes on for a long, long time. Very similar in the Jackie Robinson, and maybe even bigger. I think there's plenty of other things to be done, But remember, the documentary's been done. The movie's been done. A lot of stuff's been done. I think it carries forward, even though those things have been done. But I don't think anybody's going to wake up and go, "Wow, I can't believe that they're finally doing this for him." Or doing this with him, with his license or his legacy.
Muhammad Ali's image is certainly transcendent, and one of the guys that helped quantify and help him in business, Brandon Steiner. Rick Horrow, keeping score. See you in a couple of minutes.